Okay guys, so this is a single page application. So what it means is that everything is coming inside of the index.html. We will use the JavaScript to decide which one to come and which one not to come. So in the meantime, I'll just comment it out. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the quiz container. So I'll come here and create a quiz container. Inside the quiz container, I will have another container called question container. Inside the question container, I will have an h1 element which has the class name quiz test. So h1 quiz test, and then inside this, which is question, let's say 1 of, let's say 10, okay, for the start. Then after this h1, I will have a paragraph with the class name question test, and then this one I'll just generate some random text of about 13 words like this. So after this, I will create a new container for the options. So we have our options container, and inside the options container we will have option, okay, which is also a container. So I will create a container with the class name option, and inside the option I will have an input of type checkbox and a label. Okay, so I will have my input, and then the type is checkbox, and then I will give this one an ID of, let's say, A, and then I will have my label here. The label will have a class of also, let's say, A, like this, and then it is for A. This for here targets the ID, okay, so that once we click on the text inside of the label, it can check or uncheck the checkbox. Okay, so let me give some random text of about 4 words, okay, and then see. So now let's see. All right, so I'll duplicate it 3 more times, 1 2 3, and then I'll change the second one to B. ID will be changed to B, and then the class name will also change to B. I will do the same for this one. The ID will be C, the 4 will be C, and then the class will also be C. Then finally the ID here will be D, the 4 will also be D, and finally the class will be D. So now let's see. Okay, good. So now let's go ahead and begin the styling. So inside here, the first thing that I'll start will be the quiz container. I'll just type the class name here, quiz container, and then the quiz container will have a width of 90%, but then I'll give it a max width of 650 pixels. I will set the background to the same color as the login, like this. The next thing that I'm going to do is to set padding to 20 pixels. I will give a border radius of 10 pixels. I will set the display to flex. The flex direction will be column, and then I'll give a gap of 15 pixels, and then save. Now let's see. Okay, everything looks all right. Now let's style this h1 element here. This h1 element was given a class name of quiz test, so quiz test, and then the first thing is that I'll set the font weight to 300. I will set the font size to 1.4 rem, and then I will also set the font family to Gill Sans, and then save. Now let's see. Okay, everything looks perfect. Now let's deal with the question. Alright, so inside the question we have a question container. Don't forget that one should come here. So we have a question container, and inside the question container I'll bring these three things here because that is where they are really needed. Now let's see. Question is supposed to be Q. Okay, now let's see. Okay, very good. So now we will target this paragraph, and afterwards we will deal with each of the options. Okay, so let's deal with that one. The question. Okay, so we have the question text here. I'll copy it right here and then come here. So the question text will have a font size of 1.2 rem, and then the next thing is that I'll set the font family to sans serif. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this looks okay for now. Now let's deal with the options, but don't forget that the options has option container. So let's begin with that part. I'll say options container, and the first thing that I'm going to do is to give it a width, a display of flex, a flex direction of column, set gap to 10, and then save. Now let's see. Okay, now I'm going to target each option. Okay, so let's do just that. I'll come here and say option, and for every option it should have a weight of 100%. The background color should be different, so background color will be set to white, and then the color of the text should be set to this grayish color, and then I will set the display to flex, AIC center. I'll give a gap of about 10 pixels, and then I also give a pattern. Okay, so before that, let me give a height of 35 pixels, and let me give a pattern of top and bottom 0, left and right 15 pixels, and save. Now let's see. Okay, good. Now the label should be styled, and you should also give it some border radius. So let's do just that. I'll give a border radius of up 6 pixels. Now the next thing is to target the label, so I'll just call the label, and then I'll bring this color here. The color should rather come here because I didn't have any effect here. Now let's see. Okay, good. Now I think I should also change the font family of the label. So font family set to, let's say, Lucida, and then save. Now let's see. Okay, I think it looks better now. Once I click here, it checks. I click, it unchecks. Let's look at the original one. Let's say something random. Okay, I think the font size is too much for it, so let's come here and make it 1 rem, and let's see. I think 1 rem is better. It looks to me that this one is more lighter, quite faint. Okay, so let me just copy the background color from here, paste it here like this, and save. Now let's see. I think this looks better now, right? Okay guys, so the next thing to do is to create the result page. Okay, and since it is all coming inside of the index.html, all I need to do is to comment out this one as well. So what I'm going to do is that I will want the result page to share the styles with the other containers. Okay, so what I'll do is that I will create a quiz container, and inside the quiz container I'll have an h1 element with a class name of quiz test, something like this. And then let's say you scored, let's say 3 out of, let's say 5. Okay, then afterwards I'll create a new button, and then I'll give this button a class name of login btn. I just want it to share the same style as the login btn. Okay, and then I'll give the test retake quiz like this. So now let's see. Okay, so what we need to do is to give this one an extra class name so that we can style it a bit. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll come inside here, and then maybe I'll set this one to the center. So okay, I think it should rather take the login test instead. Okay, so let me come here and say login test, and then I'll give here, let's say retake. Okay, like this. And then inside of the index.css, I will give an extra style of margin top to, let's say 15, like this, and then save. Now let's see, everything looks all right. I prefer this one to come to the center. Let's see, quiz container. I think we should start a quiz container and give it display flex, align item, center, and the rest. Okay, so where is this quiz container? Quiz container is right here. I will copy everything from here, and then I will duplicate it like this, and then let's see, everything is all right. Yeah, so we are done with the HTML and CSS, but coming up is the JavaScript. Don't go away.